Hi, I'm Dr. Bill Cook from the Iris Center for Mindfulness, Peace, and Healing, and I'd like to share with you today a short story about how we wholesomely balance, or don't so wholesomely balance, two fundamental biopsychosocial spiritual systems. The first of these systems has to do with whether or not we feel safe, and the second has to do with how we respond to that assessment or evaluation. That is, what we do when we evaluate an event experience, whether external or internal, as safe or unsafe. Our response may be one of activation and mobilization, or one of inactivation and immobilization. From an evolutionary view, these systems boil down to don't get eaten and get something to eat, and the physiological capacities we have to act. A frog, for example, will rest in a relative state of immobilization, waiting for its food to come to it, and a turtle, when unsafe, will immobilize even more, withdrawing and hiding, disappearing within its shell. Most mammals, on the other hand, need to mobilize for both getting food and to escape being food. As human beings, we have these same fundamental systems and patterns of response, most usefully understood, I think, as approach and avoidance. We turn toward opportunities for nurture and renewal, and we turn away from threats. Metaphorically, we all have an inner safety monitor that is constantly scanning our present moment experience for cues of safety and cues of threat, not being safe. This inner bodyguard is scanning not only the outer environment for these cues, including other people's behaviors and body expressions, but also our inner world of body sensations, thoughts and emotions, memories, stories, judgments, and desires. When we are picking up on cues of safety, we tend toward approaching, connecting with ourselves, with others and the world, and to be present with our experience. Mother Nature wants us to be here as our home base, as therapist Deb Dana refers to it, most of the time. When in this domain, we are more open to social engagement and co-regulate more readily with others. We might look to opportunities and experience degrees of excitement as our mobilization system activates, helping us live well and deal with life events in wholesome, exploratory, and playful ways. And when we are in this domain of approach and connection, we can feel safe enough to just rest and be comfortable doing nothing. For example, meditating in stillness or simply being deeply present and receptive of things as they are without the need to do something about it in the moment, often referred to as equanimity. However, when we are registering cues of threat, real or perceived, remembered or anticipated, we feel unsafe. Our approach systems are inhibited and go offline. We move into the domain of avoidance, of protection and disconnection. We all appreciate how this manifests, perhaps in the face of a real threat to our life and limb, like coming face to face with a bear while on a walk. And it is important to note that this avoidance protection domain is activated by the metaphoric bears of our inner biopsychosocial spiritual experience as well. We may respond to these threats, real and metaphoric, through activation of the mobilization system with a flood of energy to run or fight, narrowing our view and options for the purpose of protection. Or we may respond through activation of the immobilization system with a collapse of energy, disconnecting and disappearing or even dissociating, losing our sense of presence. We fawn and give way to the other, or even freeze, unable to move or even speak. We may even respond to the perceived threats with both mobilization and immobilization, feeling the huge energy of mobilization, yet totally unable to act, just like a car with the brake on and the accelerator to the floor. All of us We'll have our own distinct flavors and blended versions of these states, and we cycle through them throughout the day in one form or another in response and reaction to our experiences. We are also very likely to have fallen into an habitual pattern where one of these avoidance protection domains has become what Deb Dana calls our home away from home. We can get stuck there, responding and reacting to present experiences with the habitual adapted patterns relevant to past experience, but not necessarily relevant to this present moment. The wholesome biopsychosocial spiritual state of regulation is characterized by the flexibility to flow through these different domains and come back to our home base of approach and connect, being present with our life. Fortunately, for those of us who have become dysregulated and stuck, so we are unable to flexibly flow back into approach connect, there are numerous strategies and practices to help us learn to do so. We will look at some of these in another presentation. Thanks for listening.